Hey, what's up, Single Married Widow peeps? I am Carmen Chloe, creator and founder of the SingleMarriedWidow.com movement. Welcome to my channel. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel and turn your notifications on. If you are digging what I'm saying, if you relate to this video, don't forget to like and drop me a comment. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about creating boundaries while grieving. I think that there is no blueprint to grief. Nobody can tell you how to grieve, when to grieve. But I feel like I can give a couple of, not tips necessarily, but words of experience, if you will, from my experience from grieving, from the beginning, the middle, and where I'm at now, a little over a year and some change from my husband passing away. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Carmen Chloe. I became widowed December 2018. It was suddenly, it was unexpected. I have two small children. They were 4 and 7 at the time. Now they are ages 5 and 8. So I want to talk to you guys about creating boundaries while grieving. I was so caught off guard when my husband passed away that I found myself in situations that, as I look back now, I would not have been in those situations. I would have set I would have set more concrete boundaries, and I would not have let certain people into certain areas of my life. However, it was unexpected. I was vulnerable. It just was a very trying and interesting time. Like, for example, instead of having a traditional funeral service, if I could go back and do it all over again, if I can go back and do it all over again, he'd be alive. But if I had to go back and walk through the process of him passing away all over again, I would have done a cremation. That would have eliminated a lot of encounters and situations that I had to heal from, that I had to forgive people about. Some people, a lot of people overstep their boundaries when everything happened with my husband's passing. So if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have done things differently. I would have had a cremation. I would have just taken care of that, and I wouldn't have had to deal with people overstepping their boundaries with what was due to me and my children and some of our personal business. But that's neither here nor there. So I just want to give you some tips. If you find yourselves in the throes of becoming a widow, you're in the beginning stages, you don't really know what to do, I just want to give you some tips on creating boundaries while you are grieving. So number one is, I want to let you know that protecting your health is a priority, especially if you have kids. Protecting your mental health, protecting your physical health, protecting your financial health. It's a priority, especially if you have children. Whatever you have to do to protect your health, whatever you have to do to protect your sanity, even though it feels surreal and it may feel like you're losing your mind. You may feel like, oh my God, did I imagine that I was married to this man for 6.5 years and now all of a sudden it seems like he disappeared out of thin air? Like, you need to protect your health and make sure that you're doing what you need to do to maintain your sanity, especially if you have children. In the beginning, your appetite very well will change. I didn't eat for days. My cousin, who's like my sister, she came up to the state that I was in and she was like, you need to eat something. Like, yeah, you need to eat something. I was like, I don't have an appetite. Like, I'm a petite woman. I lost legitimately about a good 15 pounds when my husband passed away. And I'm still a year and some change later working on gaining that weight back. So you have to make sure that you protect your mental space. I was getting really frustrated with all the phone calls about the funeral planning and this and that. And it was just so much to where I literally wanted to just run away with my children and let my husband's family, my late husband's family, just deal with everything. I don't want you to get to that point. I want you to know that you can protect your mental space in whatever way that you decide to. Number two, discern, be able to tell the difference between who you can and cannot trust. There were certain people that my late husband had dealings with before he passed away. And I have a heightened sense of discernment. I also have the gift of discerning of spirit. So there were people that were in my late husband's life that I knew for a fact, like they were a check in my spirit, like, nope. Only because he's connected to you. That's the only reason why we're in each other's circle just a little bit. So some of those same people, like I remember one person in particular who I was doing some planning with. I remember as clear as day, I remember God telling me, she is not your friend. And it's not that we were in a friend capacity, but it was Holy Spirit reminding me, like, don't let your guard down, okay? Don't let your guard down, and make sure that you have your spiritual eyes wide open. So I want you to be able to discern between who you can trust and who you cannot trust, who you can tell your personal business to, who you can trust your financial information with, okay? That same person who God told me, you know, she's not your friend, she ended up asking me for my children's social security number under the guise of setting up a trust for my children. And I was like, what? So I said all of that to say, know who you can trust and who you cannot trust, and don't make any apologies about setting those boundaries. Number 3, it is okay to put people on pause for a season or indefinitely. A lot of people are not going to know how to handle you. A lot of people are not going to know how to console you. A lot of people are not going to know how to receive the roller coaster of emotions that you may go through. A lot of people are not really going to understand that a year down the line, you still may be grieving. You still may go through bouts of depression or not feeling like doing things, and they may feel like, oh, well, you should be over it now. Like, get up and, you know, get back to life. Some people are going to say some things that are going to be like, why would you say that to me? And it's okay for you to put those people on pause, or if somebody does something that's just really uncalled for or insensitive, you can put them on pause indefinitely. It's your right, okay? It's your right to create those boundaries. Number 4, realize that you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you grieve, how you heal, how long, or how fast. You don't owe anybody an explanation, period. Number 5, make no apologies for your emotions. A lot of people on this journey, they'll try to hide their emotions. They'll try to not cry because they don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I'm crying. Don't make any apologies for your emotions. Feel every emotion. If you're in the grocery store and you need to cry, cry. If you're in front of your children and you need to cry, cry. I'll never forget when it first happened. I had talked to my grandmother on the phone. She couldn't come up at the time because she was going through her own health challenges. She has since passed away, but when I talked to her, it brought back different memories of her and my late husband, and I got really emotional, got off the phone with her, and I was beginning to cry, and the family member who was with me at the time, I was like, oh my God, I need a hug, like I'm gonna cry. So, you know, they're consoling me, hugging me or whatever. And one of my daughters was coming down the hallway, and the family member, they didn't mean any harm. It's just, you know, how they were raised, you know, don't show your emotions in front of your children or whatever. They were like, oh, your daughter's coming down the hallway. Like, kind of like, you know, stop crying. And in my head, I'm like, no, like I want my children to see me emote and grieve and cry for their father. I don't want to pretend like he didn't exist. I don't want to pretend like, oh, I have to be strong and not cry. Like, I don't care if you're a man. If you feel like you want to release and cry, do that. Do that, because it's healthy to release that. You don't want to hold that in. So those are my 5 tips for how you can create boundaries while you are grieving, especially grieving the loss of your late husband. So I hope you found value in this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on so that you can get notified when I post new content. And I want to invite you to take my free 6-day healing challenge. It's completely free. It's a 6-day healing challenge. You can sign up for it. The link in the description is singlemarriedwidow.com. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.